Yo, time for the deep spot. All right, man, I had a valuable lesson I learned the other day. So yesterday, I go to this house. I'm putting up a TV, and I run into a situation where like there's like some pipes behind the wall. Luckily, I took some really good precautions, make sure I didn't pop the pipe. Everything's all golden. So I get ready to do the last part, which is hide the wires. So I'm getting ready to hide the wires, and there's like a little spinning thing that has like jagged edges. And I was talking to the customer, being fucking liaze, not really paying attention to what I was doing, and I hit my fucking trigger finger, and shoot, sliced my finger. So I'm like, oh dang, I sliced my finger. I'm like, oh, well it's bleeding. I'm like, damn, that's not good. And so the people are like, oh my god, are you okay? You okay? You okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm straight. I'm just like, damn, I forgot this job was dangerous actually. And that leads me to my lesson for today, which is never forget the world is ruthlessly dangerous and there's always a repercussion for every action and there's always a reaction. And one of your things as a top flight sapient that you have to understand in life is that you need to always be taking precautions and really thinking and pay attention and focusing on what you're doing. And one of the reasons most guys crash out, and please refer to my crash out series in the lives about what a crash out is and how does a crash out happen, is that a lot of time women take your focus off of the dangerous things in life, and that's when you get caught slipping. And so this lesson taught me because like I could have really got really like jacked up. Luckily, I was able to snap my finger off pretty quickly before anything was like seriously harmed. So I just got a nice little reminder, like okay, make sure you pay attention. Now, did it hurt? Yeah, it hurt a little bit, but I kept a very good poker face. Because one of the things I realized in just football, fighting, everything is if you start to panic, everybody else starts to panic. So if I was going there screaming, everybody's going to look at you like, oh. So you got to learn how to hide your internal emotions, hide things, and keep a plain face. So I'm just like, oh, well, yeah, I got cut. I'm like, you got some water or paper towel? And she's like, oh my God. Like, she's panicking. The husband's panicking. I'm like, don't even panic. It's not the first time I've been cut. Not realistically, like I've been cut before. Like I got cuts in my eyes from fighting and like cuts from football and stuff, cuts in the shins. But it's the first time I got cut at my job, like kind of really doing some shit. So I learned a valuable lesson, which is stay focused, stay paying attention, man. Always be frothy. Always keep your eyes on the open and focus on what you're doing. See, I wasn't focusing on what I was doing, and I got caught slipping. I got caught slipping. And see, that's the thing. You don't want to get caught slipping because when you get caught slipping, now it delays things. So now I have to delay my pay. I have to delay the job. I got to take in some more time to go back and waste some more resources to do some more things. All because I took my eye off the ball for a couple of fucking seconds. And that's one of the things you got to understand about your life. As things get rolling and get propelling and as you start to accomplish more and do more, a lot of times, guys, we take our eyes off the ball. And the result is we get caught slipping, you get cut, you get damaged, you get some type of result you don't want because you stop focusing. See, in the game of life, and like if you ever play chess, the only difference between a mistake and a blunder is the timing. See, a mistake in chess is like whatever. You make a mistake early in the game, you can always recover because you have more plays to be able to recover from that mistake. But the later the game goes, the more costly the mistake is. And that's what I kind of picked up when I was doing this job. Is like I forgot that it's always important to finish through and make sure that everything is done properly as you're finishing. Because if it doesn't, then you pay the cost, which is finger. And so I got my finger a little sliced. And now I'm like, oh man, I got a finger sliced now. This might delay some other things, make little things other harder. Now I got to sit there and take precautions, make sure my finger heals up properly. And it's not going to slow down the work because it's not anything too bad. It's not the worst injury I've ever had. But now I got something I got to think about. So now I can't train properly with my left hand. I got to take some time off with the left hand, focus on the right, so forth and so forth. And it was just a really good lesson because I need that lesson. Because here's the thing. Let me tell you something about the universe. There's probably been other times in my life that I got caught slipping, but I simply just didn't pay the price for it because I was merely, it was like a small mistake. And what the universe does is it try to remind you like, hey, keep your eye on the ball or else I'm going to make sure you keep your eye on the ball. And like guys don't really realize this. Like a lot of times you see this with dating with guys. Guys will date a girl. It will go bad. Guy will break up. He'll be heartbroken. And he'll come back and do the same mistake again. But the second time he gets wrecked is way worse than the first time. And then he'll do the same thing again, get wrecked the third time, and it's even worse. And then the fourth time, it gets even worse. So you need to start learning from your mistakes. And that's one of the things I always try to take in life because you're going to make mistakes. Mistakes are just part of the game. Don't ever feel like you are a loser for making mistakes. You're supposed to make mistakes in life. But the whole purpose is not to keep making the same mistakes. You don't want to repeat mistakes, because when you repeat mistakes, that costs you time, energy, and other lessons you could potentially learn in the future. See, one of the things you want to try to knock out the way is you want to always have new problems and new mistakes that you're making every day. That's one of my life philosophies, because when I make a little mistake, or if I make a new mistake every day, that means it's not compounding over time. So it's like, okay, I made a mistake. I learn from the mistake. I don't make that mistake in the future. And that's one of the things I try to pick up and learn, is to not make the same mistakes in the future. Because as you get older, you want to start to have a wealth of knowledge and wisdom from all the mistakes that you make. And so when you make these mistakes, you learn from them, and they give you a compounding interest of like wisdom. So when you get deeper into your older age, you can sit back and just already see like, okay, I already know this is going, I already see where this is going long before it gets there. And that gives you the ability to have like the ability to create precaution, I guess you would say. Precaution basically saves your sausage. It's like my little saying I like to say. So the more precautious you are, the more you kind of scope things out, you learn from mistakes, you learn from certain things, the easier it is to not make those same mistakes and to build upon your future and become more wise and logical. And so what I learned today was, man, keep my eye on the ball, pay attention, wear my gloves, take safety precautions, understand that anything can happen on these jobs, and that it's not just a playground. Like, even though you're very good, you've done it 100 times, just because you've done it 100 times doesn't mean that the 101st time is not going to get you. So it's like, always keep that in mind, that like all it takes is one little split moment before something bad happens. And luckily I didn't lose my finger or anything. It got me a little bit deep, cut a little bit to the white meat. But hey, that's life. So now I got a cool scar that I'll get to see in maybe like a week or two when it heals up, and that'll be my memory to life. Like, hey, make sure you pay attention. So whenever I look at that finger, I can go, all right, precaution. And that's the story of today.